Welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So I started my channel with a story time, and I was just remembering this very scary and terrifying stage of my life, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So right before we get into the video, please give it a big thumbs up, please subscribe, it helps me out so much, and let's get into the video. So like I said in the intro, this is like a story time, and back when I was 15 and was still living in California, I started to get these very scary experiences. This might sound very weird and kind of like, what does that have to do with the story? But don't worry, it's gonna fit in and you'll see where. So I did not do my first communion until I was 18. I was pretty old to be doing the first communion, but just didn't want to do it, and I was like, let's just get it out of the way when I was 18. So now that you guys know that, let me get to the beginning. When I was 15 and I was still living in California, I started getting a lot of sleep paralysis, and it was normal for me to get sleep paralysis. It still is. I've always been very sensitive to the paranormal since I was basically born. This was so much different than what I had experienced beforehand, and I don't even know how it started happening, but one day, one night, I was sleeping and I just started feeling like somebody was watching me, and I just started feeling very, very terrified, and I could not move. Like, I felt like I couldn't move, and I was fully awake, so this was not like sleep paralysis because I wasn't asleep. And I couldn't move. The room went so cold from like where I was from my side. It was very, very cold, and that's how like everything happened. Like that's how everything started. That night I felt something I had never felt before, something so dark, something that till this day very like it scares me so much because it how do I say this? It's like something attached itself to me and kind of started feeding off me. That night when I started feeling like I couldn't move and so scared, I felt like there was something very, very evil watching me. And it's not like I've never had experiences with the paranormal before. I've always, like I've said, I've always been very sensitive, but this was something so much different. So I don't even know how to put it into words. And I just remember like feeling like it was forever that I couldn't move, and just feeling like there was something hovering over me that night. And it probably lasted like maybe 3-4 minutes, and then I didn't feel anything anymore. So I was like, okay, it was probably just a ghost trying to scare me like before, you know? And then the night after that, I started getting nightmares. Like very, very bad nightmares. Like I was part of them, and like I could feel everything that was going on. So I was like, these are very vivid nightmares. But then it wasn't like a different nightmare every night. It was like I was seeing parts of an event play out pretty much. So I remember in that first nightmare, I saw this guy who I know as Joseph, being very, very, very drunk and coming home. And I remember seeing that he started yelling and screaming for his wife and kids to come downstairs. And it was so violent the way he was yelling. And like all this was like late at night and all the kids were asleep. And I just remember seeing in the dream that he just came home yelling, aggressive, to get his wife downstairs, to get the kids downstairs. And then I woke up. I could not sleep after that. I just ended up tossing and turning. The next night came. I started getting the dream again. But this time, it was once again Joseph getting home, yelling, telling his wife to come downstairs to get the kids downstairs. Just so mad and aggressive, and he started pushing his wife and started yelling, telling her all these horrible things. And then he disappeared into another room. When he came back, he had a shotgun with him, and he started beating the kids. Like, I remember this so vividly because the oldest daughter was 15, named Catherine, and I remember her name so well because this identity, this thing would call me by her name. He started beating his kids and his wife with the shotgun. He never shot them. He just started beating them. And the youngest was 2 years old. And he just started beating them until he killed them all. He left Catherine at the end, and then he raped her. And then beat her to death. And then he killed himself. Now, these dreams went on for like about a month, and they just started getting more vividly. And instead of me being watching it, it started turning into me feeling it, like if I was Catherine. After the dreams, I started seeing this very big figure in the shadows of my room, and with these very terrifying, like, yellow eyes. And it sounds so stupid to say it out loud, like, oh yeah, he had yellow eyes, but like, that's what I saw. After that night, I saw the black figure and was able to see its eyes. I would see him every single night, and not just in my room when it was dark, but then in dreams. And I would hear this voice calling Catherine at me, like if he was calling me. And I wouldn't sleep. I started like always feeling tired, and then I started to get scratches. And at that time, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at that time I was self-harming, and I swear to God, like, when I would wake up, I would have scratches on me, and they were not done by myself, like, they weren't done by me. And I would feel like my arms were burning, like my back was burning. And at one point, my mom actually saw them, and she thought, and like, she had seen scratches, like cuts on me before. She thought I did them, and it wasn't me. And it just started, like, I guess, like, feeding off my energy, and I was so depressed and scared. we ended up moving to Mexico, and I actually have an aunt that is also very sensitive. She like works with energy and does like works with like the chakras, and like she did notice, and this other aunt noticed that I would be completely fine and like having a good time, like laughing and smiling. Like I would shut down and look yellow and tired, and like if I was being drained, they were like, yeah, you like try to repel it, try to like cover yourself in positive energy. One aunt actually tried doing like this Reiki and like healing and trying to like get this thing to stop feeding off me, and it wouldn't. It just would laugh and say it would never leave me alone. And I remember one time I remember one time I fell asleep during the day after I got home from school, and I started feeling like I was getting choked and like squished to death. Like I couldn't breathe. It was getting harder for me to breathe, and I was trying to yell out for my mom, and I was finally able to get Ma out, and my mom ran up the stairs. She says that as soon as she got to my door, she felt so scared. She felt like there was something very dark inside the room, and she just went in. She said, this is what she told me. She told me that she just felt so angry and pissed off that something was hurting her child, and she couldn't see it. She couldn't do anything. And she just went inside the room and started yelling for it to leave me alone. And she said that the room was freezing and it felt so bad in there. And she just started yelling at to leave me alone, that it wasn't welcome, to just go away. And she said that she finally felt like the room was like relieved, and she like hugged me, and I was able to open my eyes, and that was like the first time my mom actually believed that something was going on, that something that she couldn't see, something that we couldn't really protect myself from, was harming me. And my dad was also very like skeptical about the paranormal, and he said that by seeing everything that would happen to me, all the things I would see, he started believing a bit. But like, you know, he's like, till this day he's like, oh yeah, that's not real. But then he also would see what would happen to me, so I guess he says it's not real to like protect himself from that type of stuff. Shortly after that incident, I did my first communion, and I would see less and less of this identity. The more I like try to pray and all that, because like I've always had like a mixed relationship with like religion and God and all that, because I've always been like, okay, well, if God is real, then why does he let all these like scary and horrible things happen to me? But then I'm like, if there's obviously an evil that I've experienced, I've seen, there has to be a good side. So like I started to try praying, and I started seeing less and less of it, and till this day I haven't seen him since. And I am so grateful because it was such a scary couple of years where I wasn't myself. It 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 was just something I never want to experience again. And I'm just grateful that it finally left me alone. And it sucks to be like sensitive to that kind of thing, because you do see and experience a lot of bad energies, a lot of bad spirits. But I'm also grateful I'm that sensitive, because I was able to see and meet my great grandfather, from my mom's side, who actually died way before I was born. Actually, he died when my grandpa was pretty young, and I had never seen him. I've only seen like pictures of my great grandma, but never of him. And I was able to see him one day. So for that, I am very grateful. And being sensitive is a double-sided sword. There's some good things about it, and there's some scary things. It really depends on yourself, on how you take it, how you deal with it, and how you decide to protect yourself. And I know that a lot of you guys, that like a lot of you are gonna be like, well, this is BS, right? She's making it up. She's lying. She's putting on a show. But it's not. And if you don't believe it, then that's your opinion, and it's totally okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I just wanted to share this experience with you guys, because I know there's a lot of people out there that do experience these kind of things and could be scared to talk about it, because other people are gonna think that you're making it up and you just want attention. And that's what I got for a very long time, that I was just seeking attention, but it wasn't true. So sorry for crying. Probably look a mess, and sorry if and I'm sorry this video was like all over the place. And I just told it how I remember it all happening, and yeah, sorry it's all over the place, but I hope you guys really liked the video. And if you ever had an experience like this, or not even as dramatic or as scary, but just an experience whatsoever, please comment below. Tell me what that was. I really want to read your guys' stories as well. And please subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.